Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next panel discussion is on accelerating marketing transformation, how to win in today's evolving consumer environment. Joining us, we have amongst us our session chair, Mansi Bhatia, Chief Business Officer, Shuglu. Hi, ma'am. Hello. Thank you so much. We request you to please take your place on the dais. Yeah. Charu Malhotra, Chief Brand Officer, APL, Apollo Steel Tubes. Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. Kush Agarwal, Marketing Head, Bikano, Bikaner Wala Foods. Thank you so much. So here we have our wonderful panelists amongst us for an engaging discussion. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I think it has been quite a day, I would say. All of us are running late because of traffic. But I mean, thank you so much for still holding up and being here. I see a lot of people have started leaving, but let's wait for just like, a little bit more time so that, we can try to have some meaningful conversation with really some of the very, very interesting people. I got a chance to interact with them little before the sessions. So I think you've already been introduced, but very quickly, we have Charu, we have Satish, we have Kush, and we have Satyabrata. So I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion because, I mean, what we are going to discuss is on marketing is obviously on an accelerate mode. Like, as we have been discussing since morning, marketing is really on an accelerate mode. But how are we accelerating this marketing and incorporating it into each and every brand and holding up? That's something that, let's hear it from them. So my first, before we start, consumer expectation, landscape, all of that is really evolving, be it for Bicano, be it for you, be it for any one of us, to be honest. Expectation is on a rise, consumer expectation. Consumer landscape has really evolved. So what is your viewpoint on it? And let's have a discussion on it. So both on the consumer expectation and landscape, what is your viewpoint on it? So let's start with you, Charu. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So yes, the consumer revolutions happen on a very, very fast pace. And today, more than ever, the consumer's overwhelmed with the information overload all around him. And as brands, so in the earlier panel discussion also, we were hearing how the consumer funnel has evolved. While there still is a stage which starts with awareness to consideration to evaluation to then probably the first moment of truth at purchase, but probably it does not follow a set pattern now. So the consumer has app, he has social media, he has access to websites, he has access to conventional marketing communications from outdoors and TVs. So it doesn't follow a set pattern, and hence it's so very important for brands right now to probably have those right interventions, whether tech interventions, whether human interventions, to kind of give him the right kind of communication. And from consumers' point of view also, there is a lot of expectation from brands to be hand-holding them through the journey. He's making quick decisions, but he's still, and that's why he wants brands to be more suggestive in their approach, not just talking about their products, giving them tailor-made customized communication in terms of what they should do, how they should proceed. So overall, from brands, it has to be a right mix of technological as well as your conventional interventions so that they are able to present the right triggers to the consumer for communication.
Very interesting. Any particular example you would like to give from your particular brand for for the audience to understand it better? Because all of us are from very, very different industries altogether. So how you feel for you this fits in well?
Yeah. So I represent the tubular steel construction industry. Joined here about a couple of months back. And when I talk about steel, primarily it was sold more as a commodity. Today, when we talk about these commodity-led industries becoming more of a branded phenomena, that's how steel tubes today talks about, new age marketing. So, for example, in yesteryears, we were only doing TV. But today, when we want to talk about customized solutions to projects, to specifiers, to developers, to architects, in that case, we have to approach them through digital means. We are, just to give you a very recent example, we are also exploring VR tools because steel today is also used in residential. Even big projects want to see real life simulations of how steel structures can actually build buildings which are faster in turnaround times, lesser on the carbon footprint. So we're using VR tools where we can actually show these real life simulations in a very, very creative and immersive way to the consumers.
Very interesting, I must say. Kush, what is your viewpoint on this?
So actually, my viewpoint is very different from Charu's viewpoint because obviously a product, it's like लोग उसको use करेंगे रहेंगे उसके साथ they're gonna be there for a couple of years, right? But when it comes to my product, it's like people are just gonna eat it and forget about it. So the consumption is very fast, and the thing is that there are so many competitors available in the market, and it's such an easily substitutable product, not just in terms of brand, but it's also in terms of different ranges of products. So like in traditional snacks, Bicano as a company, we do more than 50, 60 products. And in Western snacks, we have more than another 20, 30 products. And if we come to the SKUs as a company, we do more than 1,000 SKUs. So, and it's not an easy task, obviously. So when we talk about the consumer mindset, as we were discussing earlier, like every 5 kilometers, the dialect changes. So it's similar with the taste. Every 5 kilometers, the taste also changes. So if you go to Rajasthan, Bikani Bhujia is a hot selling product, right? It maybe 60-70% of the namkeen sold over there is Bikaneri Bhujia. But if you go to Telangana or if you go to Andhra, no one eats Bikaneri Bhujia except the Marwadis over there or except the North Indians over there. So the product, the ratio is completely changed. We set up our whole plant in Hyderabad, so we have to look at the data, ki udhar bik kya raha hai, what is selling more over there, what product that the consumers want. So we have to create so many products, we have to create such a vast portfolio that we are able to target each and every consumer that we go to. And plus with all the age gaps, you know, a kid wants a sweet product, and when it comes to an aged person, they don't want any kind of masala. And someone who's 20 years old, they want high spices. So it's just targeting every consumer. It's not possible, honestly, but with such a huge variety, you can target every one of them.
Very interesting. I must say, I'm married to a Marwadi, and the amount of bhujia that gets consumed in my house is compared to anything else. So over to you, like, you know, Satish, what is your viewpoint on consumer, like, you know, expectation that is changing? Like, you know, and you have a very interesting product, I must say. Like, you know, you're in like, you know, I would say a segment which is very relevant, very new age, I would say, not new age, like, I think it's still like, you know, it's pretty like, you know, now evolved, but still like, you know, still people might be hesitating. So what is your viewpoint?
Sure. So I'll probably take some time to explain my viewpoint. So all of us, I'm one of the co-founders of Adverb. There were 6 of us who started this company, and all of us were ex-Asian Paints. Now so basically Adverb is a warehouse automation and robotics company which helps manufacturing companies move material from one place to another in their factories and warehouses with the help of mobile robots, sorting robots, carton shuttle, AI. So we are an embodied AI company, right? Our robots manifest AI and then they perform their task to pick material from one place to another. To that extent, most of my perspective would probably be a B2B because that's the segment that we cater to. Now, one, you have spoken about changing consumer expectations, right? We are a startup that started in 2016. We clocked a revenue of around 480 crore last year, raised a Series B funding of 132 million USD from Reliance. Now, if you see a company which started in 2016 and clocked a revenue of 475 crore approximately last financial year, even the company itself is also changing. Right? I'm not the same company that I was in 2016. I was a different company at 1.6 crore revenue. I was a different company at 70 crore revenue. I was a different company at 150 crore revenue. And I was a different company at 475 crore revenue.
And you're still evolving.
And I'm still evolving. Yeah. So there are 2 dynamics that I need to cater, and I'll touch on both. First, changing consumer expectation. When I started my career in Asian Paints, YouTube was blocked, Facebook was blocked, and I could not access LinkedIn because it was blocked. And I think that was what used to happen in manufacturing industries probably 10 or 15 years back. You could not access the social
It
media
still happens.
websites.
In a lot of
Okay.
MNCs, it still happens. Yeah.
Now phones have come in, and I can access all these things on my phone. Now, and as ma'am was saying, it is a multi-channel world where what has happened is attention span of people has reduced. You have a very small amount of time to share your story. And I'll again take an example of what was shared in this session in the morning when I was attending the AI session. That Asian Paints has this very famous tool of demand planning. Now, I worked in Asian Paints for 3.5 years. And I'm assuming if anybody is here who's investing in share markets, there's a very famous guy who runs a PMS who told a story about Asian Paints.
Correct.
And made Asian Paints famous. Now, for 3.5 years, I worked in a company, I worked in manufacturing, I worked in supply chain, I didn't know about this system. Here comes a guy who narrates a story day in, day out, writes a book about it. And then I was surprised to see that there was a marketing guy who was speaking about the Asian Paints example. So what does it tell about the consumer? The expectation of consumer to hear fundamentally good stories has not changed, right? What has changed is now there are mediums that have come which offer this opportunity to consumer to hear these stories, right? Now, what is a brand, if I see in that context? See, brand is probably, if I have to give a practitioner's perspective, brand is probably something that I remember or I have a gut feeling about a product. It could be about the experience of the product. It could be about the service of the product. It could be about the communication about the product, right? So organizations have opportunities now to use very different types of mediums to narrate their stories. And how do we do it? So we went to court, and this was a very harsh thing that we learned in the early time of our journey. We went to court for a project to one of the Indian snack manufacturer. It was not you. I'll not name that snack manufacturer. They took our project, they took our quotation, and they rejected us. Now, everybody thinks B2B is about L1 pricing.
Correct.
You give an L1 pricing and your product will get sold. We were L1, and they rejected us. And when they rejected us, they said, I have a certain perception in the market. If I use an American brand, everybody will assume that my systems and processes are efficient. And that's where we got the first jolt of our life. And we said, yaar, abhi tak to hum make in India ki story suna rahe the. Abhi tak to hum bol rahe the ki we will make in India. No, now we will make in India, make for the world. We came back, we opened an office in US, we opened an R&D in Center US, and we changed our identity to a global robotics company. Now, you cannot stop at that. The second thing is, how are you handling your, how are you positioning your performance, and how are you handling your imagery, right? And that's where, see, the role of marketing just not ends at the marketing department. It's about the entire organization, right? Now, as Indians or as engineers, we do not focus a lot on design, right? मतलब शायद आप मुझे अगर 500 करोड़ दे दोगे और बोलोगे कि Lamborghini डिजाइन करना है, हम नहीं कर पाएंगे, right? It takes, there is a reason why a lot of ultra luxury designed items come from Italy, right? There is a reason why these things happen. So we built our products, we deployed them in India. We got a 200 crore order win in Australia during COVID. And that order could have easily been 400 crore, but we lost a major critical of that entire order because of the design. And that's where we learned that it is not about L1, it is about the imagery that you're creating with your design. Your products have to be aesthetic. Even, see, with us, the thing is our customer is different, our consumer is different. Our customer is a CXO, our customer is a CEO, but our consumer is a 15,000 rupee ka operator who's going to, who's a picker who's going to operate my machines. But still, the design of my product, how sleek it is, the overall look, the imagery, the culture of my organization will help me compete with global companies. So now so consumer expectations to change हुआ ही है. Startups के लिए उनका life भी change हो जाता है हर दूसरे साल. Now there is a very different problem that you're trying to solve every year.
Very interesting, I must say. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, amongst the panel, I'm somebody who's seen the whole process from print to television to digital to, hyperlocal digital, everything. So I think a couple of things are happening now. I think India as a country, this internet penetration is going very deep. Every day, there's been new change in the technological advancement. And third, which is happening is new platforms are coming. And huge digital tsunami across the country. In that kind of a landscape, for a marketeer, for a brand custodian, it becomes very challenging to plan. And so what's happening is, along with us today morning, we're discussing, along with the technological advancement, along with the platforms, the CMO is getting smarter. He's planning in much smarter way. For instance, his product, he will plan in a very different way than a company of Charu would plan. Very differently they would plan. So the acceleration is happening with respect to one thing I picked up from Satish is attention span. The attention span is actually reducing a lot. So what's happening is, today when you look at the mind share of a person, morning you get up in the morning, what all you're doing till the evening, you see he goes through multiple pulses. Today morning I got up, I didn't read a newspaper, I came, I was all through in the mobile. So it's very important for a brand custodian to understand what's happening in that mind space of a person and plan accordingly. And then to help that, the consumer is becoming very smart because of the technology. He's very demanding, he's very smart, he has to address that. So I think the acceleration is happening in a lot of different spheres. So every brand owners and every brand custodians has to be smart, observe how it is accelerating, how it is getting transferred, and plan accordingly. I think that's primarily what as a marketing person you have to look at.
Just adding on to what he said is very true. The customer of today, right? So earlier there would be a salesperson who would go on a sales beat in a B2C or in a B2B, would go and find a lead and call that person, right? Today, if you see as a customer, I don't need that salesperson. As ma'am was saying, there's a website, there's a YouTube library, there's television, there's print, there are small AR, VR applications where I can learn everything that I need, and then I need to only engage with the right person. So that also gives an opportunity to brands to create a content library, which can actually help you establish yourself as a thought leader. Create a learning library where customers can learn on their own, and then your qualification from a marketing qualified lead to a sales accepted lead will become shorter. The overall engagement time will also become shorter.
So today the sales people are the influencers. Today he would hire a food sales guy who would be his influencer, and he would say, Bikana is a great product, I had this, it's nice. It's different for every brand.
Every chef is becoming an influencer for that matter.
Influencer is the biggest sales
So
driver.
that's where you add the humanizing angle to it. Amidst a lot of technology that the consumer has around him.
Very rightly said. So we are talking about chatbots, ye wo. So जब human interact करे, so the human should actually be able to wow the person if you want to really convert that marketing lead into a sales conversion.
Correct. I mean, in the online space, we definitely say that you have 3 seconds to actually make make a consumer actually love your product. Otherwise, the consumer is actually gone. So, those 3 seconds on an online space is really important. And how you converted, be it through humanizing influencers or through chatbots or through AI, whatever. It can be any medium, but those are the 3 seconds that you need to convert. Moving on, let's go deeper a little bit on, what are the strategies? Let's discuss on the strategies very particularly for the brands, and especially for you guys, in your each and every domain, how you feel, we can accelerate marketing, and marketing is getting accelerated for that matter. So first things data, I think every one of us, for you, it matters so much, in fact, for you, every 5 kilometer that you said, data is becoming a very, very important part. And how you feel you're able to utilize, or how important data is for you as your brand, as as a marketeer, like, into your own domain, like, and how you are utilizing it. Something with examples, like, something that can become very concrete. Yeah. So.
Yeah, yeah. So, as they say, data is king, though I will finish this with another conclusion also that I have. So, some different thoughts on this. Yes, we've started using data in our kind of an industry also to a great level. To start with, it is, so data analytics and these kind of AIs and predictive algorithms and all, obviously they tend to give a lot when you want to kind of predict the future sales or the future consumer behavior, and it also it leads to very tailored, personalized communication. For example, when we talk about our kind of customers, which is majorly into structural consultants and architects and fabricators, there is a lot of need for very, very personalized, tailor-made communication. It will not make sense if I just talk about this product that I'm selling, which is probably structural steel tubes, but what it can do. So, for example, if I publish a content to an architect or a consultant saying that this use of this structural steel tube reduces my carbon footprint. So it reduces carbon footprint up to 60%. It gives you a faster lead time. So just a case in study, during COVID, there was a need for urgent hospitals to be built. And with structural steel tubes, tubular construction, we built hospitals in record time of 6 days to 10 days. So 6 hospitals were built. So giving these kind of, very, very specific information and solutions to customers is really helping us. That's one thing. Second, it is also helping us. So this kind of an industry, as I said earlier, is evolving from a commodity-led marketing to a brand phenomena. So it is important for us to be to have mass awareness, not just mass awareness, also a lot of engagement with the customers. So we are moving towards a segment where tailor-made communication to these stakeholders is a must. So whether I said use of VR, we are also using a lot of AI to talk to these developers and builders. So these kind of digital tools we started using in our day-to-day operations. Apart from that, this is also helping us to understand where our customers are sitting and what kind of marketing resources to be deployed where. So for example, for us, as opposed to the digital first age, a lot of conventional marketing does a lot of good. So outdoor marketing is something that we're deploying to a very great level because most of our customers are kind of positively impacted by it. So all of this data analytics we're putting to use to kind of get the maximum bang for the buck. And as I said, I would want to also add a thought here that while we deploy a lot of data-driven analytics and algorithms into making use of our marketing strategies, but then we should not forsake it for the humanizing angle of marketing, which definitely as a gut feel is something that works for most of us. I'm sure we'll agree.
Interesting. Satish, your viewpoint, like I think yours is going to hold.
So probably, and again, I can probably share something that we experienced when we started. This industry itself was 150 crore in India, right? Now you have a 150 crore industry. You have not done it because all of us came from the experience that we were building factories. Now, one thing that probably does not lie a lot is data. So how data can probably help you in generating or in doing your entire marketing campaign, correct? So first is I need leads, right? I need to generate demand. I have different channels for it. I have to first break down what will be the cost of lead that I get from each channel. I can plan to do an event and get a lot of leads. I can probably go and do digital advertisements, etc., do a lot of leads. There is social today. I can go on LinkedIn, YouTube and get leads from there, and then I will have inbound leads. I can also do email campaigns and do leads. But now, as I'm doing all of this, so as I'm doing all of these activities, I need to be very careful on the quality of leads and how many leads are qualifying. Essentially, which is going to my sales accepted lead and track it till the conversion happens. At which stage the lead is dropping off, for what reason, and which platform or which channel is giving me the most leads at least cost, right? When you're building an organization, you don't, a lot of people talk about ROI, but when you're a new organization,
We're going to come back to
you don't talk ROI, right? You need business to survive. That can only happen if your leads are flowing in. So you don't need a lot of AI, you don't need a lot of algorithms. If you're tracking the data at the right moment, if you know how to use basic Excel, at least in a business like us, you will be able to track from which. So for example, we get a lot of leads from LinkedIn. Today, LinkedIn gives me data to granular detail कि मेरा अगर मैंने वीडियो डाला तो कितने मिनट कितने सेकंड तक मेरा वीडियो देखा गया, किस रीजन में मेरा वीडियो देखा गया, what is the kind of people who are watching my video, what is the kind of organizations they are watching my video on, correct? Now I have all the data in terms of cookies, in terms of tracks who are visiting my website, persona. I can now link all this data to do targeted ads. So I have to build every initiative on that layer of data if I want to be successful. I need to be able to segment my customer right. I need to be able to understand what kind of marketing collateral is having what impact, right? Because I do not have infinite money. And at the end of the day, I need to get that lead flowing in. If that lead doesn't flow in, then I'm lost. I will not have money to spend on marketing.
Very true, very true.
So again, like my viewpoint is completely different from both of them because you guys are from something related to infrastructure, right? But when it comes to a consumer product, so there are many challenges that we face. First of all, there is no way we are communicating with the consumers directly. We have our whole channel distribution in place. There are a lot of retailers, distributors, super stockists, and wholesalers. So it becomes very difficult for us to gather the consumer data. So it's not that easy. So we have to trust third-party agencies like Nielsen or Kantar. But when it comes to one of the Satish's point, like when we talk about the channels, right? So there are in our category, there are so many different kind of retailers available. Even in just digital space, there is Amazon or Flipkart, which is e-commerce. Then there is Blinkit or any one of the other quick commerce, Zepto. Though the SKUs that are selling on Blinkit, it's completely different from the SKUs that are selling on Amazon or Flipkart.
Yeah.
Because over there, when it comes to our category, people on quick commerce or when their consumption is quick, their price points, they become very low. So if I'm selling something on a grocery buying for 200 rupees, they will not spend 200 rupees on namkeen. When they come to quick commerce or quick consumption, they will just end up spending 20 rupees, 10 rupees, or maximum up to rupees 50. And that's the upper limit. So we have to design our strategy in such a way that we are targeting each of the retail channels or each of our distribution channels differently. So for modern trade, we have different marketing strategy, what all products that we want to place, what all SKUs that we want to place, and what price points we want to hit. Because when the consumer is buying our product, they don't plan and come to the retail shop. Okay, they are just roaming around and they see namkeen hai, Bikano की भी है, X की भी है, Y की भी है, Z की है, and they will just compare it at that time in like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maximum, and they'll just pick the product. And there are so many varieties available that consumer doesn't have the time to go through the whole section. उनकी जहाँ पे भी नज़र रुकी, they will end up buying the product. It's very rare when they buy the product, they see the MRP of the product and the discounts when it comes to a 1 kg pack or a 400 gram pack. But at 10 rupees or 20 rupees, they don't even see the grammage.
Yeah.
So are they calculating that kind of, you know, कि मेरे को 1 kilo namkeen कितनी पड़ रही है? No, they're not.
Yeah.
No one is calculating that. Because it's such a quick consumption. So we have to make sure that in any way that my product, first of all, is obviously standing out from the competition. That is must. There's something that is just catching their eye. There's something on my packaging, there's something on my label that is catching their eye. And plus, I'm able to do my marketing as close to the point of sale. So I'll try to, you know, do a lot of performance marketing, or I'll try to do a lot of BTL activities at the retailer level. I'll do shelf branding, I'll do this and that. I'll communicate to the consumers in such a way that whenever they're going for a quick consumption, whenever they're buying my product, so they think about Bikano. They think कि हाँ यार Bikano मैंने सोचा है, Bikano उनके top of the mind है. So the marketing strategy, it's completely different for every category, and it's completely different for all the channels of sales.
Interesting. So, Brother, before we come, I would just like to add, because, you gave a very interesting point. So, in one of my previous stint, what we did was on the retail shop, we deployed a particular, you can say, a tool, which through the footsteps was able to define or, categorize, what age group of people was entering into that retail shop. I'm not going to take names right now over here, but was able to categorize as per the footwear, okay, only because only this part, they were able to categorize basis what age group. Secondly, through age group, what genre, whether it was a male, female, child, what. And we were able to utilize this data and what segment they are going into. So we were able to, prioritize that, okay, in that particular region, what particular product to actually shelf, what product to put in at first. Because if, say, for example, the majority coming is entering into a footwear, so maybe you want more of footwear in that particular store as compared to the apparel section. So, we were able to categorize. So that's the power of the data, and that actually led to a lot of improvement in the conversion. So, that's the power of data, and it's a very small example, but I felt like, since we were talking on the offline perspective, maybe, this is relevant. So over to you, Satyabra,
Well, let me put it this way. See, who are the agents of acceleration? The agents of acceleration are the marketing guys, and running faster than them is the technology guys. So either the marketing guy is not able to catch the technology guy, or the technology guy is not able to reach out to the marketing guy. In all this, what is happening is the consumer. Correct? And the consumer is behaving in a different way. So a smart marketer or a smart CMO would first understand even if to spend money, do whatever, you have to understand your consumer first. I think we have Anita here. She's handling one of the biggest brand called Patanjali. She manages in a different way. So you have to be a smart guy to understand who are my consumers and plan accordingly. So what's happening, what I'm seeing is a lot of people are, I think digital is a little overhyped. Because if you don't understand digital, if you don't understand the country well, you just pass out of an MBA school and go and join for 5 years and you can't give a solution. It's so difficult because it's not possible. Because understanding the heterogeneous mix is such difficult, as he was pointing out, the dialect changes, it's so difficult to understand. It's very crazy. So people who had written obituary for newspapers, I think I just saw yesterday's newspaper here, there was 5-6 full pages yesterday. I mean, it's still not gone, right? I mean, the vernaculars are still working, the vernacular channels are working. So I think in whole marketing acceleration, understanding your consumer becomes the key always, and acting in the particular. And obviously, the burst in digital tsunami is happening. So if you are a company which you can reach out to them in that particular zone, you should, for sure. The other area which I think we have not touched upon is what's happening with the content world. There's massive thing happening. I mean, everybody who has a phone is creating great content. Yeah. Great content, and that content is getting disseminated. A smart marketer can, and it's happening everywhere. It's happening in your tier 1 cities, it's happening in tier 3 cities, it's happening everywhere. So if his product is working great in, say, tier 2 city, he can create great influences, whether in multiple platforms, whether it's YouTube or it's Instagram or wherever, and then he can very easily create content there and disseminate in multiple social media applications. I think that's where it is happening. If you see today, people are heavily into the digital system, and to back it up is, like Charu said, I'll again take a brand like Acco. Acco is a fully digital company. I mean, they don't have an office. But look at the number of hoardings they have in the country. Correct? The same way I think Apple, I mean, you have to walk into an Apple store, but multiple hoardings everywhere in the country. So I think the story is like you create impact through multiple options, and then to reach out, you need to look at the social platforms. Yeah.
You utilize all the channels that are available to you. Awesome. Let's move to the next section of because he touched a little bit on the technology bit. So let's talk a little bit as to how technology is actually impacting the growth. How you feel in your segment, technology is the king, but how for each one of us, technology is actually playing a very, very, very important role. And as I mean, at least I used to feel that technology and marketing need to get married to each other if we actually want to have the right, growth path, or because it's the element to bring in, to bring in the essence. So over to you, Charu.
So, as I earlier said, customers today are seeking brands to reach out to them firsthand, right from the awareness stage and across the funnel. And when we talk about technology, even brands are trying to seek out those opportunities to reach out to them with the right kind of intervention. So when we talk about technology, whether it is trying to create immersive experience for the customer at the store. So I'll give you an example of what we've currently started doing. So there are, so when I said steel tubes today, even retail houses, I mean, there is a lot of usage of steel tubes, whether it is doors, furniture, steel furniture is in fashion. So what we've done is we've started designing design studios where we give first hand, so where there is a kiosk, there is an entire setup that we've done using VR, where the consumer can walk up to the store. There are contractors who walk into the stores and they can actually create furnitures using our tools to see how it will look in their houses. So that's one immersive experience that we are giving to the consumer once he walks in. The technology, so for that matter, we're also using real life simulations for big projects for architects and structural consultants. That's another. We are also trying to, I mean, there is a massive impetus on lead generation for these stakeholders, for our industrial buyers, because it's majorly a B2B segment that we operate in. So lead generation on LinkedIn is another thing that we are using technology for. Apart from that, as I said, since it's an evolution that's happening in steel industry, I think there are bigger times to come and bigger technological, things that we will probably shape up.
Yeah, very interesting. We're going to come to you last because I'm sure you will have the maximum in this particular definition. So, Kush, over to you.
So I feel technology plays a very vital role, and it's just not when it comes to a marketer, but it's also about the organization. Our company, Bicano, is going through a technological change for past 2 years, and we have digitized everything. All of our workflows, all of our processes, they're all on digital. So I don't have to get up from my chair, or anyone or the executives, they don't have to get up from their chair or email someone. They just have to complete the workflow, and the whole company is running very smoothly because of it. So I feel when it comes to digitization, it just makes you very efficient. It just brings out that productivity, and it just organizes everything around you. So everything, every data, everything is available for me real time, because we are collecting data through our own third-party apps and different vendors that we have. When it comes to sale data, a person who's going to the retail outlet, he's collected the data on the mobile phone, and we are getting that data back in the office real time. So there is no lag or anything. So technology has made it so easy for us to get that data that we are talking about, and to organize it in such a way, categorize it, and also analyze it, that we can easily get an answer, which would have taken, maybe a couple of days. Now I can do the whole exercise in a couple of minutes or maybe an hour maximum.
Interesting.
Okay, so technology has helped all of them to understand the consumer first and create personalized and hyperlocal kind of reach out to them, And for multiple brands today, if I have to do a launch in a particular place, so technology helps you. If you have to understand that particular person's behavioral entire cycle, technology helps you to reach out, right? So, the story is like you create, reach, impact, and technology helps you to reach. So it's basically the end of the attribution funnel.
Correct.
Where you drive the consumer to the final point where they can buy the product. So that funnel is technology helps you to take that consumer to the final point where he buys the product. So that's where every marketer using technology for consumer insights, to understand the consumer well, and to reach out to them. I think that's a great story which is happening in that.
Satish, over to you. Like, I would love
He's
to
the best
understand
guy
from
to
you.
sum up, yeah.
Yeah, like, would love to understand from you, from both your experience of Asian Paints as well as now, like, how you feel technology is actually impacting. And after that, we are going to, like, just like, we'll have one more, I think, mini question and then we'll wrap up. Yeah, just as summarizing.
Sure. So before I jump on technology, and as a marketer, I'm a big believer of stories, irrespective of how much disruption happens, irrespective of how short your attention span becomes. If you have good, if your company has good stories to tell, even in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it is going to create a brand. I'll tell you one story here. Since he mentioned that there's a lady from Patanjali, hardware does not come by default to India. No, there is something that is very positive, and it's a very personal experience. That's why I'm sharing. And since God has made this platform probably to share our gratitude, usually people don't associate robotics or hardware to India, right? And many Indian businesses, first generation, second generation, third generation, हार्डवेयर खरीदना तो जर्मनी से खरीदेंगे, हार्डवेयर खरीदना है तो जापान से खरीदेंगे, L2 देना होगा तो L2 देंगे, L3 देना होगा तो L3 देंगे. वो जर्मन इक्विपमेंट अगर ब्रेक हो गया, मेंटेनेंस का कोई हिसाब किताब नहीं है, right? It's as good as it is working. So when we were in this journey of creating our first hardware, and we were trying to find first customer who will buy this hardware for us, there were two people who bet on us. Everybody rejected us because our hardware was not deployed anywhere. So there is a small regional brand called Bindu Fizz Jeera in Karnataka. He met us. He said, somebody give me an opportunity first. So I'll give you an opportunity to deploy our hardware in my warehouse.
Very nice.
Right?
That's very good.
Second, we were trying to get our big order, and somehow we reached Patanjali, and we had the opportunity to meet Acharya Balkrishna, and we explained to him our entire product. And this was for the Padartha factory in Hardwar. And then he asked us, but what is the problem? And we explained to him that as well. Ki we have not deployed this hardware to this scale. You will be probably the first customer to whom we deployed this hardware. And he stood up and he said, if we don't give an opportunity to Indian companies, to startups who are coming, then who will? And he gave us an order for more than 2 million USD in second year of our operation. That became our reference sites, and we got 4 repeat orders from other customers for similar projects. So that was just a story, and probably we would always be eternally thankful to Patanjali for giving us the opportunity. Had it not been Patanjali, we would have not been here. So coming to technology, as ma'am has said, we use technology to create a lot of personalized experiences for customer. So we do a lot of simulation. So one of the problems that we face in our businesses, it is very difficult for us to put across our products and solution to the customer, because so if I do a project for, let's say, XYZ company, so Reliance was one of my customer. Eventually we went to that journey where it became so invested that it invested. कि अरे चलो अब तो हमको पैसा ही डालना है. Now, will Reliance allow a Flipkart into their warehouse? Never, right? Amazon is so secretive about their warehouse that they will not even let us take a video of the solution that we have deployed, right? Even if we have to name them on our website, we have to take explicit permission, because everybody thinks कि मेरा warehouse different है और मेरे processes बहुत secretive हैं and मेरा पूरा competitive intelligence सब इसी में है. Now, how do I get the customer to understand how these solutions can help them? One is using technology to definitely build products. But I have to use simulation, I have to use virtual reality, I have to use augmented reality to help customer create dynamic scenarios so that they can visualize their products, their business, and understand how this solution is going to impact them. And that is a use of technology that helps us to market our solutions better, especially in absence of reference sites or permission from customers that we can take XYZ customer to their sites, because a lot of these businesses compete with each other.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. Base pitch. And then
What we are talking about is like
and then we
I've done that in
no. And then we also allow them to to change for different scenarios. And they are able to change scenarios, they are able to change their numbers, they are able to change their throughput to understand how this solution will be more efficient.
I have one example to share. I'll just take a minute. One last example. So in my previous company, and I wouldn't name the brand, but it was a bath brand, and just by implementing the AR, where the person could actually see the bath products in his bathroom, we were able to amp up our website visits and our lead generation from those, 10 times. So it really, really worked. Technology helps.
Amazing. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I have loved this session. And there were definitely very, very interesting points that we have gained, be it around the data personalization or technology or consumer, how the expectation in each brand is very, very different. So I must say it's been a very insightful session. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been great interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.